them lights, but you know I got the strap. But right, I push the I do the dash, on my way to the bag, boy, you know I push the gas.
Back in August, I visited SeaWorld Orlando in Orlando, Florida, a theme park where you can see all kinds of animals and exciting shows, but most importantly for me, ride roller coasters. Now, there were 5 roller coasters open at the time I went. There are 6 total, but I got to ride each of the 5 that were open twice. Now, I've already reviewed most of these rides, so you can go check them out on my channel. But now that we're talking about the 6th that was not open, that's Icebreaker. Icebreaker is SeaWorld Orlando's newest roller coaster and opened a couple months after I visited, so you will not be seeing that on this list. If I had to take a guess at where I'd put it, I would think it'd be about number 3, but I'm not completely sure. And I'm sure I'll get to do that at one point, but anyway, let's continue to the video. Number 5 is Super Grover's Boxcar Derby. This is just a kiddie coaster, nothing really special. It's pretty good for a kiddie coaster, but it doesn't really do much for me, and that is why I put it at number 5 on the list. This wasn't really a surprise to anyone, it's Super Grover, so that's that. Number 4, Journey to Atlantis. There's a Journey to Atlantis at every SeaWorld park, and this is the biggest and most themed of the 3. There is one roller coaster section. It's pretty much just 4 big turns. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool to experience. So I definitely recommend riding this when you go there. But as a roller coaster, it is not incredibly amazing and it really doesn't do much. So that is why Journey to Atlantis is number 4. I will say though that the theming was actually quite well done and that for what this ride is made for, it does it really well. So nothing bad about this ride, it just can't really compete with the 3 bigger B&Ms on this list. Once again, I'm sure this placement won't really surprise anyone, but anyway, let's move on to number 3. And number 3, in my opinion, is an extremely overhated ride, and I can't understand why. This is Kraken. Kraken is the B&M Floorless coaster, and I thought it was pretty fun. It's the better of the 2 B&M Floorless coasters I've ridden, and I think the only reason it's hated is because of the other 2 coasters on this list. And those are some of the best roller coasters in the world, so it's really hard to compete with that. People like to complain that this ride is really rough, and yes, it may have a little bit of a rattle, but I don't think it's extremely rough. If you've ridden an SLC, that is 8 times worse. And personally, I like SLCs, so I can deal with a little bit of head banging. This ride layout is very long, very intense, and very unique. It's got 7 inversions, which include 2 vertical loops, a cobra roll, a 0G roll, a dive loop, and a corkscrew. And as I said when I made my review, there's not really a bad moment I can think of on this ride. It's got height, it's got speed, it's got length, it's got a good layout, it's very interesting, and it's a very fun experience overall. So that is why I like Kraken, and that is why Kraken is number 3. Number 2, you guys probably already know what this is, but it is Manta. That is their B&M flying roller coaster, and this is one of my favorite rides I've ever ridden. The top 2 on this list are in my top 10 favorite roller coasters, and it's easy to understand why. Manta has a very long, interesting layout, just like Kraken. However, the pretzel loop is one of the most insane things you'll ever experience. It's got near misses. It's got a fun drop. It's very intense, possibly the most intense ride at the park. Not to mention that the placement of this ride is just perfect and it looks amazing. So that is why Manta is number 2. Number 1 on this list, you all know what it is. It's my second favorite roller coaster I have ever ridden, and that is Mako. Mako is the tallest coaster in the park. It is their B&M Hyper coaster, and if you guys know me, you know I love B&M Hypers. Mako is absolutely perfect. It's full of airtime, and it is by far the smoothest roller coaster I have ever ridden. Mako does not have a single boring or bad moment, and I really only have one complaint about this ride, and that's that it's not long enough. Mako is a very short ride. However, what happens in that very short amount of time is enough to put it on this list at number 1. Just like literally all of the other roller coasters at SeaWorld Orlando, the placement of this ride could not be any better. It's over the lake, which is an amazing feeling, gliding on the track over the lake, and it blends very well into the skyline. It's the park's tallest roller coaster, and it is easily their best. And that's about all I have to say about Mako. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you disagree with any of my placements on this list, I want to hear about it in the comments. Also, if you have ridden Icebreaker, I want you to comment on what you think about that ride. And if you want to support me, just make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that this video gets in more people's recommended and I get more views and therefore more motivation to post videos. Again, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll be back in the next one. Goodbye.